Good evening everybody. I'm going to be doing a slightly unusual bit of President's News tonight as I'm well away from Norman Park, in fact the other side of Bromley, and I'm just going to turn around and although you can't see it, I'm now walking towards my destination. All will be revealed shortly. So we have a very special day in athletics history today. I'll tell you more about that in just a second, because when I reach my destination I can tell you a bit more about why I'm here. And I just hope I'm not going to get run over. Just let a jogger go past. So I'm now standing outside the training ground of Millwall FC, which unusual place today for athletics, but 100 years ago today this was the Oxo Sports Ground, and it was host to the very first Women's 3As Championships. That's the Women's Amateur Athletics Association Championships, which were held on the 18th of August 1923. Well, they're just looking up for the night here, but a quick view of the old sports ground. I'll explain to the gentleman here what I'm doing so he doesn't call the police and get me arrested. Yeah, so as I expected, I'm not allowed access to the grounds, which is a little shame, but never mind. I'll tell you a little bit more about what was going on here. So there had been women's athletics before the championships in 1923, but there was no organised governing body for the women's sport. The Amateur Athletic Association had started in 1880, but for the next 40 years there was a lot of resistance to women having their own organisation to represent them. And then the drive to bring about a women's 3As happened when Britain sent a team to an international event in Paris in 1921. The women's 3As was formed early in 1922, and their first organised all-in-one place championships was on the 18th of August 1923. So what did they do? Well, they had this of course was all done on a grass track. They had track races of 100 metres, 220 metres, 440. Sorry, I'm going to say that again. It's 100 yards, 220 yards, 440 yards, 880 yards, and 120 yards hurdles. Now that's almost 110 metres, so not the distance that women hurdle today. And there was also an 880 yard walk and a 660 yard medley relay. The field events were high jump, long jump, shot, javelin and discus. If you look at the clips of film that will be attached to the Facebook of this little broadcast, you'll see that in those days the javelin was thrown double-handed. Now I would sort of defy any of our modern javelin throwers to be doing that now. It was from a standing start and using both hands. Most fascinating. So it was a big occasion. On the day there were 3 world records set. Mary Lyons set a world record in the hurdles of 18.8 seconds. Now remember, that's 110 metres on grass. And she also set a world record for the 440 of 62.4 seconds. And then Edith Trickey won the 880 yard walk in the world record time of 4 minutes 35. So if you're a female athlete or you have an interest in women's athletics, and we all should, you can trace the development of modern British women's athletics back to those inaugural championships. And we should acknowledge those women as trailblazers in the sport, building the foundations for all the women and girls that have come after them, and who now get a much better share of media attention than they did in 1923. So you will be able to find a little bit more information on club Facebook pages, but for now, my helpful thanks to the women's 3As and the women athletes of 1923 for doing so much for our sport. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed this. Good night. Yeah, there you go. We are at Millwall Football Club training ground, previously the Oxo Sports Ground.